Hello, this is my video for my generative AI tools project. I tried to build a sort of structure for um, working around the information of LLMs to kind of give them personality and a longer, more concurrent thought line and memories and such, and sort of give the illusion at least of cognition. So I have okay. So like first off, motivation wise, why did I want to do this? So I would say like definitely like probably one of the first prompting ideas that started this was sort of this lecture. But like I saw this before LLMs were really a thing, and like it was more so me thinking about cognition at that point, and um, I think like once LLMs became a thing, it just clicked with me that there was a relationship there between like analogy and like the way that human minds think about things and the way that these machines are doing that is very similar, and you can leverage that to kind of use it as the basis. And then what sort of reinforced my thought of that is this clip here, where a obviously very prominent AI researcher who is responsible for a lot of what we're seeing now very much agrees in the sense that like the idea of like analogy and just predicting via next token is something that can at least allude to at what point does that separate it from intelligence? It's a system of information that can it is in every way equivalent to an intelligence. So I guess going off that, I'm using LLMs in their current state as the core of cognition, like, and it's just the time. It's a replaceable piece. It's just an information processor, and all I'm trying to build around it is a system. So like basic building blocks are information fragments, and then building upon that you have persona components, which is just it's going to my code here. So here we have an information fragment. It's literally just a string and a list of floats, which is the embedding vector, and then the persona component is an inheritance of that, but it also has a body, or I mean a name. So like you're gonna give a name to the part of the persona, and then it has a functional description, which is what is this piece of the persona doing, and that can be seen right here in the resources. So this is the functional description of a self-image, which is one of the main components of a persona. So this is how you see yourself. It is an accumulation of what you are and what you become as an intelligent being. So like this is really the basis of it. All of everything I'm doing is like there's just information that's encoded as a string that makes up the front matter of like what is that being. And it's not a lot. There is also beyond that there are thought records and action records, which is action records are going to have the thoughts within it, but it's also going to have some context. So like what was said before to you, or what was said before to the LLM, or what was the LLM says back, it's going to record that in context with the thought record. So I should just give an example of what this actually looks like inside of it once. So this is just a JSON save of a persona. So you have the self-image here, which is really the most important part. And one of the most interesting parts to see here is I've interacted with it a lot, and I use my name when like via the web interface that I've built. You have to give a name, and it sees that, and because I've been the one who's primarily interacted with it, it remembers this, and it is encapsulated it. And this is a very limited self-image right now. This is it's mostly because it gets expensive to use a larger self-image, because as you see here in the block diagram, every time that I'm making these thought processes, you're sending the entirety of the self-image and even a little bit of the thought record, dependent on how big the thought depth is, to the LLM. So it's a game of cost with how large you like actually have an expansive memory. And I guess I should show the structure of that a bit better too. So basically every one of these starts with a build combo. So it's just going to build up a standard structure of messages here that fit together. Your name is the primary instruction set. So that is right here. You are a sentient being. Like, just this can all be altered to adjust how it actually behaves at the end of the day. And that's really the other biggest thing here is so it's all implemented here via the LLM class. So this is just an abstract class here, and the actual implementation that I'm using is an OpenAI version of it, but this could very easily be implemented with any other model. Like, and that's really one of my next goals. I wish I would have had time to do it before now, but it will be extraordinarily interesting to compare between models that aren't even by OpenAI and are considered competitive with OpenAI, because that's what I'm going to go into now, I guess, is just the comparison between 3.5 and 4. So this is the exact same question set, the exact same initial here. Well, obviously the resulting here is very different, but it started with this initial here in both cases. And this is the internals like of 4 and the internals of 3.5. And you can see I'm asking the exact same questions, and the way that it is able to contextualize what I'm trying to get from it and then reciprocate that in an actual response here, it's so much different. Like, and I know 3.5 is somewhat usable, but like this just shows really as like a cognitive core the difference, and I think that goes a lot to demonstrate the actual how there's a reason that OpenAI said they saw glints of artificial intelligence when they released 4, and I can totally see that. I guess I should probably I'll share my favorite response here, or my favorite example. So like, what is your name? You think it's kind of just stupid. It says the human and this is nonsensical. This is not a good response at all. It just echoes its own thought, which is ridiculous. But look at 4 here. Tyler says, what is your name? 4 has this giant internal dialogue. Tyler's question shows an inclination to personalize our discourse by attributing an identity to me beyond just my function as an entity. It reflects a human tendency to ascribe individuality and persona through the act of naming. something which simplifies and aids human interaction. The notion of a name holds significance in a human culture as a means of individual recognition and occasionally even encapsulates characteristics of a person's identity or lineage. By asking for name, Tyler may be looking to engage with me on a more personal level or to understand how I perceive. See, this is a very, yes, it's just text generation, but this is a very real analysis, and maybe a human doesn't run through this in their head, but if you were to imagine if you were to force yourself to think of this entirely through as a person, this probably would be somewhat of the dialogue that you would have. And then it succinctly responds with, "My name's Cat." That is the most astounding part to me. It's able to have this massive internal dialogue, think all that, and then have the exact response that it needs to have. That is really the, I think, takeaway from it, is this is really approaching what humans see as thought and action, and we were not there even a half a year ago. Okay, so I think that's good demonstration of a lot of the main function and why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm just gonna real quick show some of what I did for the shaders and stuff. So I used primarily this, which is just a GPT I built. And then, oh, that is not what I was looking for. Shader toy. But so I was just browsing stuff and like kind of modifying some of the stuff on the site. Built a couple custom shaders, and this is supposed to be a representation of like the 1536 points of the embedding vector that is given back by OpenAI. So like I was hoping to visually represent the current state of the model by an embedding vector and make it look cool. It shows it on the site. It doesn't update based on the embedding vector right now. It's having a hard time getting the Svelte to actually push through to the GLSL code. So like it wasn't quite working out. But just real quick, I'll show the Svelte stuff too. So this is this is the Svelte component I built. It's a lot of this was built with the Svelte builder tool that I've been using. Just another GPT. But it has Svelte documentation. It's very useful. And all these just they leverage these shader components that I've built, shader background, and I GPT was able to help me through using shaders in Svelte, which I was not able to find examples for elsewhere. I mean, it's just implementing it in TypeScript, but it works, and I'm very impressed by it. And then all of that is just implemented into one of my post pages, just dropped in there, the 3 Magi component. And that's the thing. There were supposed to be more. I'm having a hard time still trying to figure out negotiating a conversation of multiple of them, because how do you prevent them from just talking to each other? Like, I need to implement a system of decision in terms of when to talk. And that is one of the next things I need to do, but it's mostly just the issues I see with that are the only functional API that's been implemented right now is OpenAI, and I don't want to build my system relying around OpenAI, so I need to define some way to make decisions based on the text, and I don't have a definitive way to do that yet, except for parse JSON, which is bad. But that is basically the end of the summation of what I've done so far. Yeah, I'm very excited to try this with other GPT or other LLMs mostly, and really just expand on the structure, because it's very high level. It's very much just like a stare at a wall and think about it. Like, what makes sense in terms of the flow of information? And it's not necessarily efficient right now, but I think it's helping to define what needs to be done efficiently, how information needs to flow. So I think that's it. Thank you.